There are 7 things you probably did this week without a single thought, and every one of them is illegal in Bali. One of them is in your suitcase right now, so let's not make you wait. It's your cold and flu tablets. Anything with pseudoephedrine, Sudafed and friends is banned outright in Indonesia. Not restricted. Banned. And that's only number 6 on this list. The number 1 thing is the first thing most Australians do when they get off the plane, and the fine is the cheap part of what it can cost you. I've watched Australians learn every one of these the hard way for 20 years. At the airport, at the pharmacy, at the roadside checkpoint. This isn't a scare video. It's a keep your holiday video. For 6 of these 7 there's a legal version, and it usually takes 20 minutes. Let's count them down. Number 7. Sharing a hotel room with your partner when you're not married. On the 2nd of January this year, Indonesia's new national criminal code took effect, the first full rewrite since the Dutch colonial era. Article 411 makes sex outside marriage a criminal offence, punishable by up to a year in prison. Article 412 makes unmarried cohabitation an offence, up to 6 months. And yes, the code applies to everyone on Indonesian territory, including tourists. Now breathe. Here's the part the headline skipped. These are what's called absolute complaint offences. Nobody can be prosecuted unless a formal complaint is lodged, and the only people legally allowed to lodge one are a spouse, a parent, or a child of the people involved. Not the hotel. Not your neighbour. Not the police acting alone. The Indonesian government has said flatly that tourists will not be targeted, and the mechanism of the law backs that up. You might remember the headlines when this passed. Australian breakfast TV genuinely ran the segment, "Can you still take your girlfriend to Bali?" People panicked. Bookings wobbled. Bali's own tourism officials had to come out and say, in plain language, relax, the law is real. The panic was not. So why is it on the list? Because it's the law of the country you're visiting. It started this year, and you deserve to hear it explained properly instead of discovering it at the airport. Know it, understand the complaint mechanism, and then go enjoy your holiday. Number 6. The one in your suitcase. Your medications. Australia and Indonesia do not share a chemist. Things you buy or get prescribed at home without a second thought are controlled substances over there, and the list is longer than you think. Pseudoephedrine, that's your Sudafed. Your cold and flu tablets banned outright. No exceptions. Adderall, the ADHD medication, completely banned. Codeine, which is in more painkillers than you realize, is a controlled narcotic in Indonesia, and bringing it in without advance authorization can be treated as drug importation. CBD oil and medicinal cannabis, flat illegal. Group 1 narcotic. It does not matter that an Australian doctor prescribed it. It does not matter that you can buy it in a shop at home. In Indonesia, there are no medical exceptions. None. Sleeping pills and anti-anxiety medication. Your Valium, your Xanax, restricted. You need the original packaging, the original prescription, and a doctor's letter. Ritalin is allowed, up to a 30-day supply declared with paperwork. Codeine catches ordinary people because it hides in common painkillers, Panadyne and friends, and people pack it like Panadol. And if your child takes ADHD medication, this one's for you. Specialist letter, original boxes, only what the trip needs, declared on arrival. Do it right, and it's a non-event. Skip it, and you're explaining psychotropic law to a customs officer at midnight. So here's the system, and it's easy. Everything stays in its original box with the pharmacy label. You carry a letter from your GP. Condition, medication, dosage. You bring only what you need for the trip, and anything controlled, you declare on the electronic customs form, and walk the red channel. Declared with paperwork, you're a patient. Undeclared without it, you're a smuggler. That is literally the difference. One more thing worth knowing. A Balinese pharmacy can often sell you, over the counter, the same sort of thing you weren't allowed to bring in. Local equivalents. Different rules. If in doubt, leave it home and buy the local version there. Wayan's cousin runs a pharmacy in Sanur. He sells cold tablets every day to Australians who learned this paragraph the hard way. And if you're not sure about something, check Smart Traveller and the Indonesian embassy before you fly. Indonesian narcotics law is among the toughest on earth, and "I didn't know" is not a defense in that system. Check the box before you check the bag. Number 5. Posting your free hotel on Instagram. In April this year, Bali stood up a dedicated immigration patrol, the Dharma Dewata Task Force, over 100 officers, working Canggu, Seminyak, Ubud, Kerabokan and Uluwatu, both on the street and online. In its first weeks, 62 foreigners were detained. Here's what gets people caught. Any activity with direct or indirect economic gain counts as work, and a tourist visa doesn't cover work. Sponsored posts, brand collaborations, paid shoots, And the one that stings: a comped stay or a free meal in exchange for content, even if not $1 changes hands. If the post has commercial value, it's work. Penalties run from fines to deportation to multi-year bans on coming back. And before you say, "I've only got 2,000 followers," the rule doesn't mention follower counts. It mentions economic gain. A free villa night for a reel is economic gain at 2,000 followers, or 2 million. And the task force's hunting ground is social media. The evidence is usually the post itself. Now the honesty check. Because this matters. Your holiday snaps are fine. Your TikTok of the sunset is fine. Nobody is coming for your family album. The line is commercial. If you're being paid, sponsored, or comped, you need the right visa. And those exist. If content is your job, get the paperwork. If it's your holiday, post away. Number 4. The duty-free bottle run. My mate Dave. You remember Dave? He booked the wrong suburb in our first video. Dave stocked up at duty-free like he was supplying a wedding. 3 bottles. The limit's per bottle, right? It's not. Indonesia's duty-free allowance is 1 liter of alcohol per person, total. 1 liter is roughly 1 bottle of spirits. Everything past it is over the limit. At best you're declaring it and paying duty. At worst it gets confiscated at the carousel, and your $40 saving becomes a very expensive story. Same trap, different shelf. The cask. A 2-liter cask of wine is 2 liters. That's 1 liter over before you've bought anything else. If you want a proper stock-up for the villa, do it at the bottle shop in town like everyone who lives there does. And 2 more for the ledger. The tobacco limit is 200 cigarettes. And cash over 100 million rupiah. About $6,500 US must be declared. 1 liter each. That's the number. Dave now travels with exactly 1 bottle and a lesson. Number 3. Having a punt with your mates. There are no casinos in Indonesia. Not one. All gambling is illegal across the country. And all means all. Not just casinos and bookies. A cash poker game around the villa table. Money changing hands on a game of pool. If money rides on a game, it's gambling. And gambling is a criminal offense. For the players, not just the house. And yes, technically, even a Melbourne Cup sweep run from a Seminyak villa is gambling under Indonesian law. Nobody's holiday has ever ended over a cup sweep, and I'm not going to stand here and pretend otherwise, but the law makes no exception for it. And organizing anything bigger, collecting real money, running a game, taking a cut, is how a funny story becomes a consular case. Keep the bets to bragging rights and the loser buying the bintangs. That one's still legal. Number 2. Flying your drone. Every second traveler rocks up with a drone in the carry-on now. It's the most normal thing in the world. In Indonesia, drones are regulated, and the word regulated is doing real work. Drones and professional camera gear can require permits to even bring in. There are strict no-fly zones, anywhere near the airport, over temples and religious sites, over official buildings, and over crowds. Fly one over a temple ceremony for the shot, and you haven't just broken aviation rules. You've disrespected a religious event, and foreigners have been deported from Bali for exactly that category of mistake. The basics. Register it. Get the permits before you fly it. Stay under the altitude limits. Keep it in sight. And treat every temple like a cathedral with a no-fly zone. Because it is. The Uluwatu sunset shot is not worth watching your drone get confiscated by a man who also has the power to cancel your visa. And number 1. The first thing most Australians do off the plane. Hopping on a scooter. Here is the law. No grey anywhere in it. To ride a scooter in Bali you need 3 documents. Your Australian license, with a motorcycle class on it. An international driving permit, with a motorcycle category stamped. And the scooter's registration papers from the rental shop. A car license does not cover a scooter. An IDP with only the car category stamped does not cover a scooter. Riding without the right documents is unlicensed riding, full stop. And in 2026, this is not a rule that sleeps. Bali has a police task force running regular roadside checks. Canggu, Seminyak, Kuta, Uluwatu, Ubud, mornings, at the big junctions. The on-the-spot fines run 300 to 500,000 rupiah per missing document. And they stack. So 3 missing documents can be 3 fines. No helmet. 250. Riding shirtless. Yes, that's its own fine. Another 250. The rental shop won't ask you for any of this, by the way. That's the trap. They'll happily hand the keys to someone the law says can't ride. But forget the fines. Here's the real sentence in this whole video. If you come off that scooter without the correct license and permit, your travel insurance will almost certainly refuse the claim. The hospital in Kuta doesn't ask whether you knew. The insurance company does. It's the first thing they check. Aussies have come off scooters doing 40 and woken up to $50, $80, $100,000 in medical bills that nobody was coming to pay. A medevac home can double it. Full disclosure, 20 years going to Bali and I've never ridden a scooter there. Not once. A private driver costs about $40 Australian a day and I get to drink my bintang in peace. Wayan, my warung guy, watches the checkpoint near his place every morning with his coffee. He knows which junctions before Google does. The fix costs about $50. Before you fly, if you don't have a bike license, don't ride. Hire a driver and relax. If you do, get the IDP. Your state motoring club issues them. Check the motorcycle category is stamped. Wear the helmet, carry the papers. Legal, insured, done. The fine was never the point. The point is who's paying the hospital. 3 quick ones that missed the cut. Overstaying your visa costs ₹1 million a day. That's tomorrow's video. Hold that thought. Your passport. You can be asked for identification, so carry it or a proper copy and a photo on your phone. And helmets are for passengers as well, especially on the back. Oh, and the sacred sites. Climbing holy trees, wandering into temple ceremonies in beach gear for the shot. Foreigners have been deported for it. The temple is not a backdrop, it's someone's church, mosque, and Sunday best, all at once. Now, the armor. I'm a bloke who's been going to Bali for 20 years. I am not a lawyer, and laws move. Everything in this video is current as of August 2026, and everything can change. The fines, the enforcement, the code itself. Before you fly, check Smart Traveller, the Australian government's own page for Indonesia, and the Indonesian embassy if anything here touches your life. And notice what this list actually was. 6 of the 7 have a legal version that takes 20 minutes. A doctor's letter, a customs declaration, an IDP, the right visa, 1 bottle instead of 3. And the 7th, the hotel room, is a complaint-based law the government itself says isn't for tourists. Bali is not trying to catch you. Bali is asking you to do it properly. Nearly every Australian you ever saw on the news getting deported started their week exactly like you're planning to start yours. The difference is almost never luck. It's this list. Tomorrow, Lane 4. The paperwork that decides whether your holiday even starts. The tourist levy, the arrival card, and the visa trap that costs ₹1 million a day if you get it wrong. If you're watching on the TV, grab your phone, search TRIPZONE, and hit subscribe, because number 6 on today's list is sitting in someone's suitcase right now, and the comments will tell you exactly who. 7 things. Now you know them. And unlike Dave, you know them before the carousel.